NATO members come together, their goal to help rebels oust Muammar Gaddafi.
Despite all his offers of peace, the Libyan leader's army continues to shell the city of Misrata.
Hello, it is 5 a.m. in Washington, it's 11 a.m. in Tripoli. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching World One live from London. Also ahead,
we begin this hour in Berlin, where NATO members are weighing up the progress of military action against Libya's Muammar Gaddafi and what part they should play. Foreign ministers are holding 2 days of talks to discuss strategy. The big question will be whether to ramp up the military pressure on Colonel Gaddafi. Berlin meeting comes 2 weeks after NATO took charge of military operations in Libya. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton will be at the talks, joined by her European, Turkish and Canadian counterparts. CNN's Diana Magni joins us now live from Berlin with more on that. Diana.
Hi, Monita. Well, there are deep divisions within the NATO military alliance about whether or not to push ahead with intensified military action, which is the UK and the French position. They have been calling on other member states to contribute more to strike action.
Adding to that, I want to talk about Germany's position. They have been very vocal from the start about any involvement, any European involvement in Libya in terms of now this conflict that's taking place now in that country and the divisions that are taking place within NATO. How much clout does Berlin have?
Well, Berlin has certainly, by abstaining from the UN Security Council resolution in the first place against...
The largest economy is at risk of derailing the recovery, not just at home, but far beyond America's borders. Economists are warning that they have been getting louder, and those warnings have been getting louder. U.S. debt is mounting ominously. So President Barack Obama has laid out his plan to chip away at the mountain of IOUs. Well, the United States is more than $14 trillion in debt. Dividing that by a population of more than 300 million, it represents $46,000 of debt for every man, woman, and child. Now, the Congressional Budget Office predicts that by 2020, the debt will be equivalent to 90% of U.S. gross domestic product. Now, let's take a look at some of the other stories that we're talking about here on CNN. Some gay rights campaigners say U.S. basketball player Kobe Bryant still hasn't taken responsibility for using a homophobic insult on court. The National Basketball Association is fining the LA Lakers star $100,000 for offensive and inexcusable comments he made during Tuesday night's game. Bryant says his outburst aimed at a referee came out of frustration during the heat of the game. The Human Rights Campaign says not good enough. After helping her husband Michael Douglas in his battle with cancer, Catherine Zeta-Jones is fighting for her own well-being. The Oscar-winning actress has spent time in a clinic getting treatment for a form of bipolar disorder. Her publicist says Zeta-Jones is looking forward to getting back to work on 2 new films, and we wish her well. And ever fancy a stint in the Oval Office? You've got about $5 million. Handy skipped the presidential bid. Instead, why not buy the White House? Now, you don't get the famous one, but this live-in replica about 10 kilometers away in the state of Virginia. The man who designed it originally came to America as a Vietnamese refugee. Zain. The former president of Ivory Coast may have to face international charges for alleged crimes committed during his time in office. The country's new president, Alassane Ouattara, has addressed the media, saying Laurent Gbagbo must be treated with consideration. Gbagbo has left Abidjan and taken to an undisclosed location while the new government decides what to do next. Senior international correspondent Dan Rivers is in the city and has new video showing the dramatic moment that Gbagbo was captured.
The moment Laurent Gbagbo's enemy arrived at the gates of his palace.
Champions League continues to hold the attention of football fans around the world, especially Pedro Pintos. You got all the details?
You got that right.
Right.
Okay.
One thing.
One thing. Here we go. Manchester United, Schalke, and Barcelona, Real Madrid. One thing that the legend of Barry Bonds has been tarnished by this court trial.
It's so sad when you see someone who has that legendary status to go from that, and it's almost as if perhaps people's memories would be, you know.
Yeah, and the records will be tainted. He's got the record for most home runs in a career and most home runs in the season as well.
On a lighter note, are you excited about the wedding?
From scale of 0 to 10, considering I hear about it every minute of every day, about a 3 out of 10 right now. Sorry.
Maybe by next week you'll get into it.
Okay, maybe I will.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Welcome back. This is World One live from London.
We're coming up on 6 a.m. in New York, noon in Berlin, 7 p.m. in Tokyo.
We're going to take you outside New York City now, where police say they fear a serial killer may be on the loose. Search crews on Long Island say they have found the remains of at least 8 people, some of whom have a lot in common. Joe Johns reports. In the U.S. today.
It sure will. You're watching World One live from London. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. Thank you for joining us. We want to give you a look at these pictures from Texas now.
Yeah, wildfires burning out of control despite efforts from the local forestry service. These are the pictures, and we can bring them to you. We will follow all these developments. You're watching World One right here on CNN.